something that actually might interest you to talk about a little bit is the announcement that MLB is going to be they're going to be basically integrating Negro League statistics into the MLB database. So it was announced that Josh Gibson, for instance, who is a prolific hitter in the Negro Leagues, will now hold a number of records in Major League Baseball. And honestly, like, this is probably a fairly controversial topic with a lot of sides taking weird directions on it. I just don't know if it's necessarily a good thing, because I feel like this takes away from the fact that Major League Baseball, which wasn't alone at the time, right? Segregation was a thing that existed in this country. So there was the separate but equal thing all over the place when it came to, you know, the race. But it is crazy to me that Major League Baseball now kind of gets to like pat themselves on the back and integrate these stats into their stats, like as if they saw the Negro Leagues on a similar level. It's not to say that the competition isn't as good. Because of segregation and how racist people were in this country, and how we literally saw skin color as a reason to separate players into two separate leagues. I think it takes away from the importance of the Negro Leagues by integrating those stats. I'm not worried about the fact that Gibson now has all sorts of, like, that's great. That's fucking awesome for me. I think that it's just MLB kind of pulling a fast one in a way that they like, you know, like Negro Leagues now is part of like them and like it always was, and it really wasn't. And I think it just it gives them a kind of an out on the fact that historically, you know, this segregation was something that existed, and it kept the best players from playing together.
Yeah, I thought Foolish Baseball at Foolish BB on Twitter made a really interesting point in response to this. He said, "Hate to be a wet blanket, but this has never really done anything for me. I don't need MLB to float down from the heavens and decree that the Negro Leagues were good. And the fact that players like Josh Gibson explicitly didn't play in MLB is why the Negro Leagues were important." So yeah, it is sort of Major League Baseball kind of finally correcting. I mean, but you can't correct the mistake that was made at the time, right? Like that is done. That was what it was, and it was obviously terrible for many, many reasons. And it just feels, I don't know. I mean, the reality of the situation is that the Negro Leagues were forced to be their own thing back then, and it feels cheap in a way now to be like, oh yes, we welcome all of this, like retroactively to bring all of that stuff into the Major League Baseball history books. Really, what I my biggest take on this situation, though, is that Josh Gibson was an outrageously good baseball player. Josh Gibson hit 466 in 1943. Derek, that will now stand as the single season record for Major League Baseball for batting average in a season, 466. And based on recent trends in Major League Baseball and the fact that batting averages have been dropping for a while now, I don't think we're going to see another 466
hitter
anytime
soon. Josh Rojas.
Yeah, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. Luis Ariz with the Padres. We'll see what happens. But someone asked if I'm okay because I'm sweating a lot. I've gone into this multiple times. We don't have air conditioning, and that's going to become more and more of a problem as the summer goes on. So
you know what?
I specifically had asked for air conditioning tonight. We don't have it.
I'm going to take the L on this one. I should have turned a fan on prior to this. It's on me.
It's all right.
I will wear the burden of your sweat. Not literally,
I appreciate it. Well, I mean, again, I think that at the end of the day, the one thing about this is that it's kind of like I like the Negro Leagues being in the Hall of Fame and being honored in that way is fantastic.
Yeah, like Josh Gibson being in the Hall of Fame, like that feels like the correct decision for sure.
And MLB, the show, doing things like they did to not only highlight it and give you a cool mode to play, but to also tell the history that so many people don't know because these guys were not part of MLB is an amazing thing to do. Like sharing their history, sharing things like how great of a hitter Gibson is a good thing. And I mean, maybe that's the great thing that comes from this is because these statistics will now be part of Major League Baseball. They do get they get the praise, they get the flowers that they deserve, long overdue. But it's just kind of MLB getting to get their cake and eat it too there in a situation where, you know, they kind of get to be the good guys here in this situation when that definitely wasn't the case when this league was forced to be created, right? So
I just don't know if it honors the best way to honor the Negro Leagues is to kind of lump in their stats with the stats of Major League Baseball.
Sure.
I don't feel like
feature it in a sort of way. Or
I don't feel
something.
too strongly about it either way, but I very much understand Foolish Baseball's perspective on that, and it definitely makes you think.
I agree. Well, like at the end of the day, though, we want to know more about baseball. We want to know about all the great hitters, no matter what league they played in, right? So I think sharing that information is always cool. But I definitely have my feelings about it, and it's not because Josh Gibson is going to get honored with all the records that he has held. It's more about MLB kind of getting to look like the good guy here in a situation where I don't really feel like they should get to. But
Gibson had a career 1176 OPS.
Stupid.
It's pretty wild.
That's amazing.